review the film and see if you thought the team was lackadaisical or nonchalant?
Yeah, you know what? Like I couldn't obviously sleep very good after the game. I was really, it was really tough because that was a great opportunity. It was our first half was the best half of basketball we played all year. And what I think it was, looking back on it now, and I got confirmation today, not from the players, but through my trainer, that both Nick and Abdul complained before the game. God, I just don't have my legs. I went too hard on them, honestly, Thursday and Friday after a tough game. I mean, the way this thing's coming together, we're so young. I want to practice. I want to get, but there's got to be a fine line or a better judgment, because we went really hard here for 2 hours on Thursday after flying back Wednesday. And my first initial response after the game to myself was we should take Thursday off. We have a better chance to win Saturday. But then as you're thinking and you're watching, wanting to win, competitive part, wanting to get better, wanting to execute better comes into play. So, they were in the gym for 2 hours on that day. And then we went hard the next day before the game for an hour and 45 minutes. And so I take a lot of the responsibility because I don't think it was the lackadaisical part as much as it was our sixth day in a row. We went Monday, Tuesday, hard to get ready for Florida, traveled, played, went Thursday, Friday, and so it's 6 days in a row. I just don't think we can do that, because you remember, we have 10 guys on scholarship, and we practice. There are no subs. There's no sub. It's not like, hey, get in for a few minutes and take a few possessions there. There is none. So that was, a big part of that is on me in getting the information, and yes, and I didn't, I told them, but you still got to have your mind. Your mind can overcome anything, and we've got to be able to do that. But and I think Q said that, and I haven't even talked to him about it. I mentioned it to the team today, but yeah, I mean, that's how he felt. I didn't feel that in the game. I just thought, watching it, if you watch the film and study, our first half couldn't have been better. And, I can't even fathom, Auburn, we got them beat, we're up 11. I mean, there's no way. I mean, I don't believe anybody thought that. At least that's not my feel.
So how do you figure that balance of practice time and keeping?
Well, it was like today's stuff. Today I wanted to go longer than I actually did, because we watched the film for 45 minutes edits. Then we lifted for 20, 25, and I cut it shorter than I wanted to go to. But it's the day before the game. We got up a lot of shots. I mean, this time of year, bottom line is we have 7 weeks left in this regular season. So it's more about, understanding than anything, because we got to stay live and active. The Patan. He did that without looking. You're supposed to be down here. Okay.
We got a couple more weeks to practice.
Okay.
You mentioned before about getting to do more touches. He shoots at a very high percentage. How many shots should he be taking per game for you guys?
Yeah, I don't know if there's a set one, but I think our guys are looking more. And part of it is a learning process. Now, when he first came here, it was like pulling teeth, begging him to shoot. He would get the ball on an offensive rebound underneath the hoop, and he would immediately pass it back out. I mean, no one has ever told him, you're supposed to shoot when you're in there before. This is the first time. But like I've told our team many times, nobody has ever accused Abdul of taking selfish shots. That has never happened one time. He has never shot out of, I need to get mine, or, it's my time to get a shot, or I haven't touched it in a while. And, so a lot of us have just been getting his mentality changed. Yeah, we need you to score, and you got to be aggressive to score. So that's the first thing. That's where we've started from, right? And, I tell you what, he is his biggest critic. In other words, like when you correct him, when I coach him, and this is something we've talked about with him, he takes everything to heart so personally. I mean, it's like you're admonishing him when, no, I'm just trying to teach you. And that's, because he wants it so bad. I mean, like, this is the same guy I had to beg to try to get more sleep because he's up till 1 in the morning studying, and then he's got to get up for our 7 a.m. workouts in the fall, and he's only getting 6 hours of sleep, and he doesn't have enough sleep in him. And I think that, affects you, obviously, as an athlete. But he's getting better, and I think he's getting more aggressive, and I think they're looking for him more. Now, I think he's got to keep getting better at sealing, and, he's got to make sure he's not using his arms, but using his lower body to do it. But, yeah, we definitely need to feed him, and, we put in 2 little, new things today that we'll review again tomorrow that, he's the ball screen, he's the roll. And, and even on offense, he wants to screen so bad that when he comes to ball screen, instead of rolling, you know what he wants to do? Wherever the ball goes, I'm going to go hunt it again. I mean, it's just constantly him giving himself up instead of realizing, I've got to be more of the threat to score.
I noticed in the last 5 or 6 minutes when he was on the floor against Auburn, I don't think he got a touch. Was that a product of him just not being as aggressive down there, or you guys unsettled?
No, you know what? I thought that when the game got close, and we were up 13, and then went 11, and then went 7 or 9, 8, and then Tyson makes a big layup to go up 10, 12 minutes to go, and then we foul. We hurt ourselves a lot from the standpoint of his shot on the 3-point foul. I mean, his foul on the 3-point shot by Harper was a huge play because then all of a sudden it cuts to 7, and he's 87% from the foul line. But I felt like when the game got 1-2 point, we did. The one guy who really looked at him and did a good job, I thought, was Lamar. They're like, hey, we got to get to him. I see him in there, and he's got to keep seeking it, and sometimes he's still learning that instead of standing for the ball, every time if he wants to get the ball, he's got to lay his body on somebody. Because what are all our players fearful of? If they're on the perimeter passing the ball into the post, they're fearful of a turnover. Because who gets blamed? They do. So they're only going to pass it into him typically if he's got him sealed.
Just look at their Vandy's record. Seems like not that great a record, but a lot of their losses come to ranked opponents.
Yeah, really good. I mean, come on, they played at Arizona State. They played USC at home. They've played among the toughest non-conference. This is the same team, minus one kid from last year who was a great player that really changed the game. But, I mean, the rest of the guys are all back from the team that beat Florida 3 times in the same season, that went to the NCAA tournament, that drubbed us by 30 up there at their place, that has seniors like LaChance and Fisher Davis are really, really good. They can play anywhere in America. I mean, Roberson might be their best player. I mean, they've got very good, skilled players, and they shoot it as well or better than anybody, and they really run their offense.
You guys have lost 3 straight now. What's been sort of the mood, the reception of the team during practices?
You know what? I they were good today. I mean, this was a long day because we did a lot, and but I think they, kids seem resilient, more resilient than adults. I think that they're very resilient in terms of how they handle a loss, and they're able to, be mad that day and then, move. They got another shot tomorrow. I mean, this thing never ends. I'm going home and I'm just, sick, and then watching it and, not able to sleep. And, I don't know how many guys do that at that age.
One more on the practice thing. I mean, how do you adapt your practices going forward while getting in what you want to in a condensed amount of time?
That's a really great question. Let me just tell you this. So originally, during these periods of time where it jumps from Tuesday to Wednesday, and we don't get an off day because of that, we were planning originally to go yesterday for, a short period of time and go. And I was like, there's no way. We just went 6 days in a row, and you could tell we were exhausted. So I have to throw in a day off during those periods of time where we're coming in and it's a fine line, but it's like, you got to remember now, we've been going since August, And, this is 7 months. I mean, it's like, it's a long, long period of time. It's a 2-semester sport, so it's tough. And those guys are, athletes. They're getting up and down. They're jumping. They're pounding. It's physical. Bodies are flying. So I really blame myself because my initial, and usually your first initial idea when psychologists look at, like when you're doing those multiple choice, your first choice on the answer is usually the right answer. A, B, C, D, or E. And then you start, they've done all the tests on that. And I've got to trust my instincts a little better. I've been doing it long enough to where I should be trusting that first instinct. And it was like, take Thursday off. So like the day of the game, we didn't have shoot around in the morning. We just came in and did the scout report because I felt it. I felt it. So I will alter how we're doing these next 2 segments. Where like next week, or tomorrow is Tuesday, so now it changes. And I can't remember. I think the 16th, or excuse me, the 23rd, is also a Tuesday, correct? So it changes again, though. We got another Wednesday that gets thrown in there. It's just, this kind of helps us from the standpoint that after tomorrow they get another day off, which hopefully helps them get their legs back, get their bodies back. There were times in the Pac-12 where you always play Thursday, Saturday. It's automatic. You're either 2 at home or 2 on the road because you're traveling all over, to crazy travel partners that are. But in those situations, a lot of times with the experienced teams, we would take 2 days off in a row. We'd come back and say, okay, we're taking Sunday, Monday off, and then Tuesday, Wednesday to prepare for Thursday, and it was always a 1-day prep. So we can do it one day. They can do it one day, and I've got to trust that more. I mean, because we do a lot in our preparation. I mean, we're going through everything they do and trying to really be prepared for them defensively and trying to, be prepared like for some of their things offensively. And we didn't get to do as much offense because they're so detailed in terms of all the stuff Vanderbilt does offensively. It still went a little longer on the defensive side. And I was like, now we got to work on offense. Well, I can't keep them out here for 3.5 hours day before a game.
You mentioned you do a lot in your practice. Coach Pearl actually complimented the scout y'all had in the first half. You're confident you can fit all those things in a condensed amount of time?
Yes. Yes. Sometimes what we have to do is when it's a 1-day prep and we start doing this is going through it live the day before, and then after the team meal going to the hotel, and we're going to do a walkthrough in the ballroom, and that's what we're going to have to potentially get to. That's what we did. That's how we did. We got 2 on the day before. When we play 1 day of prep, you do 2 on the same day, and especially for an afternoon game where there is no walkthrough at a noon game or a 1 o'clock game typically.
Yeah, Coach said that before the game, you said you felt like you didn't really have your legs, and the practice schedule was changing because of that. I mean, do you feel like that's important for the team going forward?
I feel like it is because I know I'm one of the reasons that we so good defensively, and I need my legs, especially how low I get in my defensive stance. So I feel like that's very important for our team. So we need my legs to be great here at SEC game in order to win.
Do you think that impacted the team in the second half against Auburn?
No, I don't think so. I think it was just like more of a mentally thing. I feel like I could have played a little better on defense. I try to correct that tomorrow.
Coach Allen was talking about he thinks you guys are a pretty resilient bunch. He said he's kind of lost some sleep over these losses lately. But as for the team, have you guys been able to put the last 3 games or so in the rearview mirror?
We know those games that we could have won, but we're not just looking back on it because we just look back. Those losses can turn to like 10 losses. So we just got to look ahead and try to get these wins just in front of us.
Hey, Nick, in the beginning of the game against Auburn, I know it wasn't like the flow of the offense, but I noticed that Duke didn't get any touches until it was either at the end of the first half or early in the second half. Why was that the case, and what was the adjustment that you guys made to get him the ball more in the second half?
I would say the first half we got a lot of stops and we could get out in transition, so it wasn't a lot of time that we could just get it in because we was just getting in transition so much, and we weren't getting as many stops in the second half, so it was a lot of half-court games. So that's the part of our half-court games, just getting it in to Abdul. So I think we would have got more stops the second half, then it would have been the same thing as transition. But we didn't get as many stops that we got the first half.
Eric, after 3 losses, what's the mood been like with this team?
It's been tough, but as all teams do, hold up. It's been tough, but like every team in this world, you know, it's not really a loss to us. It's a learning experience, so that's how we're taking it.
As y'all go forward with shorter practices, does it require y'all to be more locked in on the mental side of things to get all your scouting and everything in a more condensed amount of time?
Absolutely. That and just taking pride and really keying on the little things that can help us win instead of just the things that Coach Holland say. You know, the little things that we know what they're going to do and just keying on little things.
You think shorter practices in the future might help y'all close some second half leads?
I guess you could say that, but I think it's more of the leaders, me, Q, and Zay, is just understanding and taking ownership and just basically controlling the tempo of the game, you know. I put that on us for not doing that, and we have to learn from that and move on.
What do you guys then do as leaders to sort of hold each other accountable, make sure it doesn't continue to sort of trend in the same direction?
We got to communicate more because, I mean, we're still young as a team, so we can't expect Nick and Lamar and them to understand what we're thinking, you know. So we have to communicate more and lead by example.